Do you ever hear the expression, your mind is like a parachute? If you keep your mind open, then you're fine. If you don't keep your mind open, then you're not going to catch anything in the meantime.
Yeah.
Mark, I have to tell you, I went through your replay when on your YouTube channel, Circle of Excellence, and
Yeah.
I went all the way to like I don't know, maybe one of the first 5 or 6 ones that you did, and it was focus. Focus on the voice or something like that. And I listened to it the other day, and it was fabulous. It was so good. There was so many words of affirmation that you gave us in
Yeah.
the hypnosis. It was very, very helpful. I slept so well that night. It was like 2 months ago. I slept like a baby. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a client in Croatia, and one of the first things she asked me for was something to help her to sleep at night. So I sent her a couple of recordings that I have,
Yeah.
and she's just like, I listen to them like every day. She goes, I just as soon as you start talking, boof, I'm out.
I'm
Oh,
really going
like,
to try to start meditating more because I really think that's helpful. And between you and Headspace, which is an app that I have, which is meditation but without the conversation. It was more like counting your breaths and breathing deeply. So between you and that, I think I'm on the road.
yeah.
I
Well, I
think
mean,
I'm
that's the goal. I mean, I've been meditating for years, and if anybody wants a good resource, um, I can send you a link to some meditation stuff that I use. There's
that'd be
there's no voice in it, so it's really just. I mean, there are other things with voice, but from them, it's really just the music, and it's called Zen 12, and it's literally like 12-minute meditation that I do first thing when I wake up. I have 2 alarms that go off. So my first alarm goes off, and I got my iPod and my headphones right next to me. I put them on, and without even getting out of bed, I just put on the meditation. And I'm not even fully awake yet, but I go into this nice meditation. It just helps me kind of create my day. And sometimes because I'm not fully awake yet, I fall back to sleep. So that's the second alarm is about 25 minutes later. It goes off and wakes me up. And then I'll usually do some sort of ritual like writing and I'll just think about like the first thought that comes to my mind, and then I'll just start journaling. And sometimes it might turn out to be a chapter in the book that I'm working on. It might turn out to be an idea for a class that I'm teaching. It might turn out to just be something interesting that I wrote that I never ever look at ever again. Just got it out of my head. But just doing that ritual, and then some sort of um, some sort of other activity that I do. It might be, brewing a pot of coffee or something. So I just find like that gets my day started in a good way. And I I already I you take time out for you, right? Because, you know, I mean, I started my day like that, and then my day has been nonstop. At 5 o'clock, I realized that the only thing I had to eat all day was a half a cup of coffee and a handful of grapes. And I was like, no wonder I'm so hungry. But, we can get caught up and busy on our agenda or even other people's agenda. So to really just intentionally and mindfully take the time and say, you know what, this is your time.
right.
That's really, if if I give you the gift of one thing, my intention is that you take this time, an hour and a half on a Thursday evening for you, because you deserve it and you can enjoy it, and your whole life will benefit from taking time for yourself
Yeah.
to, and this is beyond just, self-care, although I'm a big proponent of self-care, of taking care of yourself, which involves 3 areas. So I'm probably going to be putting together a whole course on this, but I have something I work with called the 3 circles, which is health and wealth and love. So, you know, most people have two of them. And one kind of not so much. So really, when you have all three, at least to a decent proportion, then your whole life starts to flow a lot better.
Mhm.
So that's really the preface behind that. So anyone have all three? You want to volunteer? Be bold and say, I have all three of those: health and wealth and love.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I don't.
I got a couple.
I have two.
She drives me crazy, but she's still mine.
I love you, Judy.
There you go. Share the love, right? Anyone who's lacking love. So, you know, I mean, I think last meditation we kind of gravitated a little bit towards the love, self-love, love of others, and feeling love towards it, towards ourselves and towards others. So, you know, these are really cool things that can be a part within the meditation for you to bring your awareness and to be mindful of this
Meditation
subject.
that's
So,
not guided, the one you just mentioned, what's the site on that? Do you remember?
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear you, Phyllis.
A non-guided meditation that you use.
Zen
Then
12.
12.
Zen 12. Yeah, I'll put a link in the when I send out the replays. I'll put a link in
Okay, thank you.
because there'll be an offer to get a free download to try it. And then if I think it's fairly inexpensive for the program. It might be like around $20, which is like totally worth it. I listen to it every day, so I got my money's worth out of it for sure. And yeah, it's just, this guy is from Australia. I don't know him personally, but I've done a lot of his programs.
I wonder if it's the same guy that I'm using from Headspace, because he's from Australia.
What's his
The
name?
male voice, I don't know what his name is, but it's the male voice, and it's so soothing and relaxing to me. I wonder if it's the same guy.
It is a continent.
Yeah. This guy is Carl Moore, I believe.
Yeah, I'll have to find out. I'll see if it says it on the app.
But it's yeah, he's got several different companies, so it might be one of his newer companies that I don't know of yet. I always get emails from them that they're launching something new. They're always launching something new, and I love that. And I've done a lot of their programs. They actually even have a program on law of attraction, like a boot camp that I've listened to. Is really good. So, but I'll send you the link, and then anything you like, you can explore. You know, some of them get a little pricey, but they're still relatively inexpensive for the value of it. They all have super huge value, in my opinion. So you were mentioning, Joanna, about you know, the positive affirmations. So that's actually something that I have, a little bit different set of affirmations, but it's kind of what I was looking to build into the meditation tonight. Because the preface of tonight is, you know, you only better, right? So again, I don't know who reads the titles of the emails, or you just click on it, or you just automatically signed up to this. But really, I like to try and mix it up and come up with at least somewhat of a different theme or subject of focus or intent. You know, so, you know, definitely one of the things I want to address is, you know, this whole experience of the new normal, right? Because the new normal is just, it's totally not normal. It's like the opposite of normal, in my opinion. You know, I walked into King Cullen the other day and I wasn't wearing a mask. And then I saw another guy in there that also wasn't wearing a mask, and it felt normal. And then I saw the employee coming down the aisle wearing a mask, and then I realized I wasn't wearing a mask, and I realized he wasn't wearing a mask, and I was kind of like woken up to, you know, this new version of reality of like, we have to wear a mask everywhere that we're in public, unless we have permission not to, but that's usually more in a private setting. And, you know, it kind of struck me as like, wow, this is weird. You know, and I'm highly resilient, but yet it's still it felt uncomfortable. And then when this woman was talking to me today about how she's almost afraid to go into stores because it seems so abnormal, that I was thinking like, okay, this is something that, you know, like I always get clear indicators that this is a topic that needs to be addressed. So if I'm off track, let me know, and I'll shut up and I'll move on to something else. But, you know, it just seemed to me that, okay, so to deal with going into the store and having to wear a mask and to go through all that, you know, and even with my kids, you know, people just, you know, the old cliche was, you know, oh, the world's going to end tomorrow, you know? So then tomorrow comes and the world doesn't end, and they go, oh, no, we had it wrong. The world's going to end tomorrow, meaning the next day. And then the world's going to end tomorrow. And then and they keep saying the world's going to end tomorrow. So after a month of every day saying the world's going to end tomorrow, and it obviously hasn't ended yet, everybody just goes, you know, screw this. I'm not listening to that message anymore. But, you know, and then I was kind of having that feeling, and I go into the store a couple of days ago, and they have this automated announcement playing, say, you must wear your mask according to store policy. You will be subject for up to a $10,000 fine if you're caught without wearing a mask. And I'm like thinking like, I don't really want to wear a mask, and I'm not really big on following other people's rules, especially when I think they're rules. But then I don't want a $10,000 fine either. And, you know, I have a feeling that they would really, you know, you hit the wrong person on the wrong day and they're going to uphold that. And I don't need to take that risk. So, you know, what do? You got to comply with it. You know, my daughter was even saying, no, that's illegal. That's against the Constitution. They can't make you do that. And, you know, I would think in some public places, they can't make you do that because it is, I guess, unconstitutional. But when you're in a store, that's private property, and they can set whatever rule they want. You don't have to go into the store. You know, even though it's a public space, it's still private property. So, you know, I'm not going to get into the legality of that, but, you know, the whole thing is, you know, and it made me kind of reflect inside and say, who am I? Do I follow rules? No, I don't. I make my own rules. I was on a class today with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and, you know, there were a couple of people that were, you know, employees, and they were talking about how they're out of work and this and that. And then there was another woman on there that's a business coach that I know. And before I had a chance to type it, she typed it in, because all these people were talking about being unemployed, and she types in, I'm unemployable. And I go, I can totally relate to that. I was actually going to type that in a minute if she hadn't typed it already. And really what that means is when you get so acclimated to being your own boss and you create your rules, that the outside world doesn't dictate to you what you can or cannot do. So I like to apply that not just to business, but what if you apply that to all of life, right? And you say, okay, this is your life. Okay, you want to be respectful of others. You don't want to do any harm or put anybody else in a compromising position. You know, I have a dear friend of mine is 88 years old, and there's no way that I would even think of going in his house without wearing a mask. Okay, even though I think the mask is a bunch of BS in some circumstances. But one second, Judy. You know, I would do it out of respect for him because he believes that the mask is important. And I would hate for him to get sick, and in any way possible that I could have been the cause for that. Judy?
I was just going to say, I know that you're a kind person and you don't want to cause anybody harm. The thing is that you don't know in a store who you're up against, because you don't have to be 88. I mean, I haven't been in a store since the early February because I have all the underlying things. Besides my weight, I have a heart condition, I have asthma, I have blood type A, all that stuff. I am not normally a fearful person, but since the possibility with COVID is death, in my calculations, because I do follow science, my calculation is that it's not worth the risk. I do see my granddaughter, and she is a risk. I mean, she's only 18 months old, but she's in contact with other people. I do see her, and to me, that's the risk that I'm willing to take. But going to a store is not that important to me. But if I were to go, and when I see my granddaughter, I wear a mask for 10 hours. That's a long time to wear a
Wow.
mask.
Nice.
And it's not, I don't like it, but I do it because the thing is that it's not about you. It's about other people too. And you don't know, somebody doesn't have to be 88. Somebody could be at risk and they could be right next to you, or they could be going home to an 88-year-old. And to me, that's why you have to, I'm not telling you what to do, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that's why a person has to wear a mask, because they don't know what they're coming in contact with. And I know you feel that you're impervious to getting COVID, Mark, because I've heard you talk about that. But the thing is that you're not 100% sure. I mean, you might have no symptoms, you might have whatever, but you might carry it. And just like you wouldn't go to an 88-year-old's house, it just seems to me that going into a setting, especially when there's a law, but even just for the fact of being considerate to others, which I know you're so kind and good, I don't understand the idea of, not following the rules in that case. And I'm normally not such a rule follower, but for
Right.
me, this is
Well,
a matter of public safety.
that's what I'm saying. I'm up against my beliefs on that, because a lot of people wear the mask thinking that the mask is stopping them from getting the infection, from getting the virus, right? But
Well, there is scientific proof that it helps.
okay, so how big is a virus, and how finely does the mask filter the outside environment? So it's essentially the equivalent of putting up a 3-foot high chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out of your backyard.
No, Mark, that's not
Good.
true.
I don't think it's true.
But really, what the science has shown is that the mask is to stop you from coughing or sneezing on other people.
Correct.
It's not to prevent anything from coming to you, from my understanding. I might be wrong. But I've spoken, I have friends that are doctors that work in emergency rooms, and they said most people that have contracted the virus got it in through their eyes anyhow. They didn't get it in through the nose or
Right.
mouth.
I always wear glasses for that reason
Well,
with it.
yeah, but if the virus is airborne and it's coming towards your eyes, the glasses are not going to stop it. The air goes around your glasses. It's going to stop it if someone coughs or sneezes. Yeah, and that's why
Stops a
if you
good
go into like
portion of
a dentist or a
droplets.
doctor's office, they have these these whole face visors that come down. So yeah, I'm all for taking precaution, but here's where I was at. When it's not that I'm saying there's no way, no how. I don't like to challenge my higher power and saying, I don't want to tempt that. And but I'm not afraid of dying. I can't live with that fear. I told a story in one of the earlier meditations about being on a plane, and the plane dropped from 4,000 feet to about 1,500 feet. So, if the plane's at 40,000 feet and it drops 2,500 feet, yeah, it kind of shakes you up a little bit, but you're not worried about anything, like hitting the ground from that height. But when you're at 4,000 feet and you drop 2,500 feet, that ground starts coming up really quick, especially if you're in a window seat. And, everybody in the plane was freaking out. And I had a smile on my face and I was laughing. And my best friend turns to me and he's got this look on his face like, am I crazy? So I said, listen, if the plane's going to crash, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And if the plane's not going to crash, then why would I put all those chemicals into my body of fear and, being scared and anxious and adrenaline and all that stuff, like for nothing. So I said, listen, I said, we've gone to all these amusement parks all over the world, and we've paid good money for a thrill like this. I said, so
But
like,
that answers your question. Are you crazy? Is that what he said to you?
yeah, he asked me, am I crazy? And I probably am.
Okay.
The answer is probably yes. And a lot of you might even be verifying that now, even though you won't say it to my face. But the thing is, so it doesn't matter if it's true or not true. It matters, in my opinion, how resourceful is that thought or belief. So if it makes you feel good, if it empowers you, then it's good, even if it's false. So what happened was the plane went back up to about 2,500 feet, and then it dropped back down to about 1,000 feet. And you could see, you could make out people's faces on the ground. That's how close we were, it seemed,
Wow.
but yet again, everybody's scared, and I was just enjoying the ride. And what happened was we then leveled out. The plane landed safely. Everybody on the plane applauded. Okay.
Then
And
they
I went
changed
up
their
and I
pants.
thanked the pilot for an amazing ride.
And they changed their clothes.
Right? So everyone else on the plane was afraid. They went through all these emotions. They released all these chemicals into their body of fear of death. And yet what really happened? The plane dropped and then went back up, and the plane dropped and then it went back up and then it landed. No one got hurt. Nothing happened. There was no disaster. So, and I was the only one who enjoyed that flight. I don't even think the stewardesses enjoyed it, because they had a look of fear on their face, which was not helping anybody.
Right.
But so, and I love to fly. I still love to fly. I have friends who are pilots. I used to go flying with them every Wednesday evening. We'd go fly somewhere for dinner, and it didn't affect that one beat for me. I still love doing that. So the thing is, again, there's things you can affect and there's things that you can't necessarily affect. And the whole thing is to allow yourself to have the beliefs and the feelings that give you the best experience of living, right? So there's you living your life, and then there's like the better or best version of you living your life. So a lot of people go through life afraid to be the best version of themselves, because they think, oh, I'll be judged for thinking that. Oh, I don't deserve to feel that, or I can't, or, you can't have your cake and eat it too, And I love what T. Harv Eker says about that. He goes, what the freak good is cake if you can't eat it, The whole reason for having cake is to eat it. So yes, I'm telling you, if you've never heard this before, you can have your cake and you can eat it too. As a matter of fact, you should, if you have cake, you should eat it, right? There's no reason to have cake if you're not going to eat it, right? Or ice cream or whatever it is that's your treat. Yeah. I mean, don't eat it all the time as your only food, I mean, I know my kids, if we had only ice cream in the house, they would eat only ice cream and they would love me
too.
to pieces, right? But they would also be quite a bit larger than they are now. And not in height, more in width. But, so, everything in moderation, including moderation. And, it's about, coming back to the three circles of health and wealth and love. So with health, there's not just physical health, there's mental, emotional health. So the health gets split into two circles. And, and then there's like a spiritual aspect of health also, and then you look at wealth. Wealth is, it could be, your finances, it could be your career, it could be your investment. And then,
right, exactly.
and then love can be love of your extended family. It could be
Mike, can you mute yourself, please?
love of a significant other. Did he mute? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so yeah, so within each of those circles, there's different aspects.
Mhm.
But really, you know, one of the things in designing the ideal you is to have an idea of what that is. You know, to kind of take the critic and put the critic aside for a moment and just allow yourself to dream. So I'm going to do kind of a little meditation here. And I want you to just, if you want to close your eyes, it's fine, but I want you to just take a moment and think about if anything was possible, right? If you could wave a magic wand and change your life in any way, I want you to just take a moment and think about the first thing that comes to mind in either the area of health or wealth or love. What would be one significant change that would have an impact on maybe all of your life? All three circles would be affected by this one change. And it could be a minor change, it could be a major change, it could be a lifelong dream, it could be something that you just take a moment now and think about it. But I want you to just take a moment and think about one change that could happen in your life right now that could be transformational, that could really be the difference that makes the difference in you having a better experience of living your life in this world in the way that you do, but kind of level up. And like my mentor Bill O'Hanlon says, do one thing different. It's not about changing everything, but when you do that one thing different, it can have an impact where it seems like everything changed. So just take a moment and think about that. If it's, maybe it's what you do for a living, or maybe it's, we've done the virtual vacation in here, so it could be someplace you've always wanted to travel. It could be someone you always wanted to meet. One of my students today was saying he was meeting with kind of a legend in the field of neurolinguistic programming, and he was excited that he actually arranged a meeting with her, and she agreed, and then they're meeting on Zoom, and I can't wait to hear how it went for him. So, what's like a dream, or, something that you just really want to happen that maybe you've been holding yourself back, or maybe you don't think is even possible, or, why bother because it's never going to happen anyhow. But what if it could happen? A lot of people ask these what ifs. What if I get sick? What if I get this? What if I get that? What if this happens? What if I, if I can't do this or I can't do that? So let's play a positive what if game. What if, you get what you want? What if that dream comes true? What if you can meet that person? What if you can accomplish that one goal? Play that what if game. And then just, see what you'd be seeing as a result of accomplishing it. Feel how you'd feel. What would you be saying to yourself? What would others be saying to you about it? And then when you have something in mind, you don't have to go deep into the full experience, but if you do, that's fine. And then what I want you to do is just come back, open your eyes. You can unmute yourself if you're muted, and just share one thing that you feel, hey, if I could make a dream come true, it would be this. So what'd you come up with? No one's got a dream, or no one wants to share, or no one's back yet?
Yeah.
Okay, Judy, what'd you come up with?
So mine is something I've been working on, and I've been doing okay, but not great. And I would like to do great. And that's losing weight.
Okay. And who else has something that they...
I can help with that. I'm a,
You could
I'm a
help.
doc, I'm a health coach.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, there you go. So you ask and you get an
I
answer
I
even
used
before
I,
you were expecting it.
I used to be 525. I'm 288.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good for you.
he's looking good. Okay, so who else? Who else has something that that you want to share?
I just miss the people that I used to have fun with. They're just not in my life anymore. Everybody's scattered.
So you want to have fun?
Yeah. I like
Okay.
laughing.
Okay, cool.
Do you mean scattered because of Corona or just in general?
No, just in general. Well, you know, because I'm not a couple anymore, so I don't get included, you know, a lot of things that, because I'm not a couple, which sounds crazy, but that's what happens. And some of my friends moved out of town or out of state. They have had, you know, some of them have issues, health issues, just a whole bunch, you know, just a combination of stuff, you know, like all my people that are around me now, like what I call new people, you know, like new friends. But the old friends, we used to have such good times and laugh all the time, you know, they kind of scattered. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but me, but you told me to think of something.
So the opportunity can be in one of two ways, at least. You know, one is meeting new people, and the other is new experiences with old people, or new ways of having experiences with old people, or doing some new things. You know, so you know, it's worth exploring.
Good luck with that.
Well, it's not a matter of luck, you know. So I got Chinese food the other night, and my fortune. I'm gonna read it word for word, just because I don't want to paraphrase it. Is success is a planned event, right? So this coming from a business and success coach. Success is a planned event. People don't just randomly have all of a sudden they became successful. It was very intentional. It was planned, right? Someone doesn't just become a gold medalist in the Olympics. It was a planned event. They spent a lot of time, a lot of training, a lot of effort, a lot of energy to get to that. So the thing is, you know, you say you want it, that's great. It's a great start.
Mark, I've tried it all. Believe me, I've tried anything you can think of. I've done it. I've tried it.
So there is no try. There's do or do not.
I do, but then it doesn't work. It's like,
Right. I'm not trying to be
like even
confrontational,
like
Phyllis.
my kids,
I'm
you know,
just
even
not
with the
going to
kids,
buy
they have their
into.
own life. They're doing
I'm
their
not
own
going to buy
life.
into limiting beliefs. That's all. I'm
I
saying.
know, but
And I don't want you to either. That's kind of the value of what I'm doing my best to offer you here. So let's move forward. Anyone else have something they want to share
Can I just say something to Phyllis?
quickly?
Okay. I got divorced in 2001 and I started looking for ways to, I had friends that I could still see, but I needed like some single friends. So I found single friends, but one of them turned out that she's like my best friend now. But
Right.
now it's so many years later. I mean, it takes time to develop that. And she's my best friend. And it definitely, it's just a matter of who you connect with and when. So just whatever you do, do not give up and don't think that you
No, I
won't.
mean, I have new friends, and you know, the things that it's not that I'm sitting around feeling sorry for myself, but well, to think of something that you would like to, you know, have happen, and I just,
Okay.
you know, just thinking back, a lot of the things that we used to do, we can't do them anymore. You know, we're limited. We're all limited right now.
So here's the good thing of that is you have some really good memories to tap into, and that's what we're going to utilize tonight, is that you already have the resource within you. You know what it's like to have a good friend. You know what it's like to be a good friend. You know what it's like to have that kind of love in your life. So, you know, this is your opportunity to reconnect with that and to have the feeling, right? Because the feeling comes first.
Are you
Then,
recording this?
then it'll manifest into reality. But the
Is all this
feeling,
going on the internet?
the feeling comes first. I can assure you of that. Anything that you've ever manifested in your life, any plan that you've created to succeed in any area in your life, started with a thought, created a feeling, manifested into reality.
We're
Okay?
trying.
So, you know, that the house that you're in or the apartment that you're in, you know, it at one point it didn't exist. And then someone had an idea and they went to an architect, and the architect took the idea and put it on paper, and then everybody had a plan, and then they felt good about that plan and built it. And there you are. So everything that's happened in this world started with a plan. I mean, even, you know, depending upon your religious beliefs, you know, God had a plan, you know, and then he spoke it into existence, and you know, and then it was good, and then it existed. So, you know, I'm not going to get religious on this, but
Well, I got my new vision board all ready. The one I just finished 2
Yeah.
days ago. It's all ready to go. It's a big one with lots of good stuff on it, Judy.
cool.
Good, good.
Including knocking
That-
off a couple of
That's
those
just,
towns.
we'll
that I
have a
just put
separate
on.
discussion about vision boards. I don't have one, but
Well, you don't need one, see?
yeah, the thing is, you know, it's not about the board. It's about creating the inner vision in your mind. And more importantly, what you're going to experience tonight is the feeling, and then, you know, and then putting the energy into making the plan reality by taking action. So again, the preface of who I am and what I'm about is a 3-step philosophy of relax, envision, and succeed, right? So the hypnosis is to help you to relax and clear that chatter in your mind. And for anyone who's saying, what chatter in my mind? It's that voice that just said, what chatter in my mind, right? And then neuro-linguistic programming is a tool that I use to help you to envision what it is that you truly do want, or how you want to be, or how you want to show up in the world, or what you want to happen, right? But then the third part is succeed, right? Which is success coaching, which is the mind training part that gets you to take the actions that will manifest your plan into reality. So nothing happens unless something happens. So if you don't do anything, or you don't do anything different, nothing is going to happen differently. So it takes the right action to get the results that you want. So does anyone else want to share something that came up for them as a dream, a desire, a vision? Ask now. It's free. You'll get it. If you don't want it, shut up. But if you do want it, speak it. Don't be, we're all, you know, we're all
Yes.
friendly here, to the best of my understanding.
So this is Carol. I definitely want to see the transformation in my business. I have a vision for where I want it to go and how I want to be working with clients. So that's something I really want to see happen.
Okay, cool. So anyone else? And then I'll get into a little bit about how we're going to shape this information for you. And then we'll dive into the meditation. So we're giving away free dream manifestation serum, and no one wants it. Or only 3 of you want it so far. What do we have? We've got 8 people on here, and so far only 3 have expressed. So 5 people don't need anything in their life right now. You've got
Okay, well,
full
I have
circle
to
of
tell,
health, full circle of wealth, and full circle of love. Okay, Joanna.
I'll,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'll have to speak up then. I'll have to speak up, and this is a double header. So I'm in the process of trying to find a new job and a new apartment. So that's
Okay.
that's a tough one. So I could use a little help, to say the least.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share? No? Okay, so here's the thing to think about. Even if you didn't share what it is, I want you to think about having what it is that you want. And what I want you to think about is, who are you, or who do you become, or who will you be as a result of having that? Like, what will be different about you, right? So there's different levels at which change occur within our belief systems, and I'm going to give you the real quick version of this. So the base level is environment, so where and when. The next level up is the level of behavior, what you're doing or not doing. The next level up is the level of capabilities and possibilities. So, you know, how capable are you of doing this? How possible is it for you to make these changes in your life? But really, a lot of people, they get caught up in the possibility part. They say, well, that's impossible. And I challenge you to say, it's not that it's impossible, it's just not probable based upon the way you've been thinking and the actions you've been taking. But if you can make a shift in your beliefs about your capabilities, then just about anything becomes possible, especially when you take it up to the next level, which is the level of beliefs and then values, right? So if you believe that something's important enough, it doesn't matter if it's impossible. Think about every great invention, pretty much every single invention was at one point deemed impossible. Some point, even after it was invented, they said, that's crazy. No, you can't do that. And they'd say, no, look, we're doing it. And they said, no, you can't do that. And they wouldn't buy into it, right? But yet, you know, and then today it's like normal, right? I remember, you know, 20 years ago being at a business meeting, and they say, one day you're going to be able to pull out your phone and you're going to have access to the internet, and you're going to be able to make video phone calls to anyone around the world. And everybody at the, you know, looked at the guy and said, you're crazy. And here we are. It's just like so normal now. It's like everyday stuff, you know. Some people might even be on this call on Zoom on their phone, you know. I've had meetings where I'm on Zoom with a guy in Australia, and we're both editing a document online at the same time. He's editing the top part, I'm editing the bottom part of the document, while we're having a conversation back and forth and seeing each other on video. And even doing that with multiple people all around the world. I have a mastermind group with people from California, Arizona, Texas, England, Australia, and Lebanon, you know, and it's just like crazy that we can all meet at the same time, the same place, in the same format. So, you know, what was impossible is now not only possible, but it's just normal. So what I want you to think about is, you know, the next level up above beliefs and values is identity, right? So that's really what I want to focus on helping you with today, is making a shift that if you could manifest your dreams, who would you need to be in order to buy into that? Or having that happen, how would that help shape your belief about who you are? Because it's like a pyramid, and you make a change at that high level and it has effects widespread all the way down. So the level above identity is your dream, your vision, your purpose in life. So, and also, you know, an aspect of who else is affected, right? So if we've got a purpose to change the world, I mean, the whole world is affected by that. If we've got a purpose to make an impact or to make a difference in people's lives, then other people's lives are impacted, or we make differences for them. So that's above our identity when we can impact others. And it could be as close as, you know, family members. It could be as widespread as, you know, across the world, you know. But at the very least, I want you to focus in on you and your world and how it would make a difference for you in either changes in your identity or changes in your life, or in how you act or react to the world around you. So I'm going to pause for a minute, stop the recording.